Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Real Relatable. I am joined by author, mother, storyteller, literal and figurative saddle rider, Mindy Love.
Thank you. It's good to be here today.
Thank you for joining us. So when I saw your post on social media about releasing your book, I was like, okay, this sounds like it's right up my alley. We're talking about sex, we're talking about divorce, we're talking about dating, and just all of these topics that really suit really well with Real Relatable and topics that I've discussed on the podcast. And so as someone who has authored a book, I'm like, I need to talk to Mindy. I need to know how this came to fruition and what your thought processes were in releasing your book. Do you want to tell us a little bit about where you're from, and we'll lead up into the creation?
Sure. So I was born in upstate New York, and I lived there half my life, and I went to college over on the East Coast. And then during that time, my family came out to Orofino, Idaho for high school. My mom's side is
That's
from
up
up
north,
there.
right?
Yeah. And then I went back to New York, and I've been out here for 13 years now. So it's my second time in Idaho.
Yeah. Why'd you choose Boise instead of Orofino?
So Orofino is very, very small,
Mm,
very small, and I wanted to be where there's an airport.
that's fair.
Didn't realize how much of a desert it is down here compared to up in Orofino.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's been good.
Yeah. And so in Orofino, tell me a little bit about like what growing up there was like versus upstate New York.
Oh man, let's see. I feel like as a teenager, I didn't yet understand like worldviews,
Mm,
and going from being on the East Coast, it was like more open-minded, a lot more progressive. And then I was in a very tiny town in Idaho. So in New York, everyone thinks of Idaho as just potatoes. That's
yeah.
it.
That's like the rest of the country.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when I came to Orofino, they only thought of New York as New York City. And where I'm from, there's more cows than people. It's farmland.
Oh, okay.
It's Amish community. It's like 8 hours north of New York City.
Okay.
Like we are almost sitting in Canada.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's just so much snow. Like we have 8-foot snowbanks for many, many months.
Wow.
It gets like the rule for school to close school, if there wasn't too much snow, it had to be minus 32 degrees.
That's wild.
Once in a while it would hit that and we wouldn't have school. But I remember like getting on the school bus and you can like scrape off the frost on the inside of the windows. You're in your snow clothes to stay warm enough. And while they did get a little snow in Orofino, and they definitely get more than here, but it was still milder. I would say another huge difference is you have to be older to get your permit and driver's license. And when I moved here to Idaho in Orofino at 14 and a half, I could sit in driver's ed and get my license at 15. And that was just a lot of freedom, and I loved that part of it.
Yeah. I imagine it's because there's so many like farms and things like that, just like throughout the state of Idaho. You know what I mean? Like I can imagine they're like, okay, listen, if we're going to put these kids to work, they got to at least have, licensure somewhere to be able to, I don't know, do you need that to drive a tractor or to drive, you know what I mean? Like those big machinery. I wonder if that's related at all.
I think it's different too, being raised like on a farm and in a rural area and getting from point A to point B.
Yeah.
When you have a lot of responsibility as a young person,
Mm-hmm.
I think you do mature at a quicker level. And if parents have multiple kids, it's too much to drop everybody off everywhere and whatnot. So
yeah, I can imagine. Okay. So I want to get into the book. And I would love to just learn a bit more about how you landed on the title. Like, tell us about the title. Tell us about what really led up to the creation of the book.
Okay, so I would start with the book consists of the last 8 years of my life. So
Okay.
I've been divorced 8 years, and I think sometimes when people read the book, they might think like this stuff happened all overnight, and it definitely didn't. It was a very slow, progressive timeline of events. And as for the title, I love riding horses. I fell in love with horses young, and I've always loved them. And when you fall off a horse, the first thing anyone will tell you is in order to overcome your fear, you got to get back up and you have to get in the saddle. I mean, you can take a couple breaths, but the longer you wait
Yeah.
to actually climb back in, your fear will just grow and grow. And some people end up never getting back in the saddle. And I think that can be related to relationships. If you've had a really bad relationship, especially a romantic one, a lot of women that are single moms do not want to go anywhere near that subject, that topic.
Yeah.
And for me, it really felt right. And I thought it could be a play on words, getting back in the saddle, and really much was an expression of myself.
Yeah. I mean, similarly, like I've been divorced, but I wasn't veered away from dating. I was like getting back on the saddle also. If anything, I was ready. I was
Yes.
like ready to get out there, like sow my royal oats or whatever. Like I just had probably too good of a time. But I know that there are some women who might go through like a tumultuous divorce and they're like, you know what? This is ghetto. Like, this is not for me. I am not trying to, be in the dating world, like totally against men, whatever the case may be.
Sure.
And I can see how that can like limit them from being able to maybe connect with someone else or really just like get to live out to their true potential, which I think I think everybody has a soulmate, like that romantic partner, and then we're supposed to be together. So I think that kind of can limit them from that opportunity if they let it hold them back.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. And here's why. At one point, I believed in soulmates, and that's really what kept me in a marriage that wasn't suited for me.
Yeah.
And because I'm so intellectual, I started doing tons of research about it. And like, what are the statistics for how many people would be a great partner for me? And like scientifically, they say it's over 1,000 people because there's 8 billion people in the world, right?
Yeah.
So I find that super interesting.
Yeah.
I do have some friends that have gotten divorced and just went 20 years, no dating. I have a very close friend that's in her late 80s, and she chose, I believe it was at the age 36, she just was done. She had repetitive bad experiences, and she just decided, nope, I want to live a peaceful life alone, and she's made it happy, and she is the youngest 80-something-year-old I've ever been around. Like, she stays active in community at home, like, colors her hair, looks cute, like, all the things.
Have you seen those videos of women? Honestly, it might be in New York City or something where they have this like compilation of older women who have like the best fashion. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Like, I don't know this friend that you're talking about by any means, but that's what's coming to mind. It's like she's got like the prints and the hair and the jewelry and like just a vibe in and of itself.
Yes,
Is
and
she
I
like
think
that?
she is. And I think what I'm seeing as time goes on and I get older and I meet other women that are either my age or older is so much freedom, I think, comes with age. The longer time you have to like get to know yourself and what you want and what works for you and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think that goes along. It goes along with a book for sure.
Yeah.
If I didn't have all those different experiences that at the time, a lot of those experiences were, I'd say, not quite traumatizing, but I mean, some were just, it really hit me. And
transformative, not necessarily trauma.
Transformative, I think, to my growth and to understanding myself.
So after 17 years of marriage and 7 kids, 7 kids is a lot.
It is. I don't recommend it.
Yeah, no, highly
2020.
unrecommended. I mean, you love your children, I'm sure. Right?
Oh, yes. They know it, but they would tell you they don't recommend it either. It's a lot of kids.
Yeah, that is a lot of kids. So what was a moment that you realized that you might have lost yourself? Was that in the marriage? Was it after, postpartum can also do things to you? Like at what point did you realize you lost yourself?
Okay. So if I can go back a little bit, like how I was raised was very, very religious. I never heard the word self-care. I did not know what that meant. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't have any women around me that modeled self-care. I believed that it was my duty to grow up, get married, and just serve this person. So it was my 5th child. After I had my 5th child, I had issues where like I couldn't walk. I had back issues. I had to be in bed. I had to be carried to the bathroom. And I realized in that moment, like nobody was coming to help me. Like nobody was going to be able to do the things I do. And while I was on bed rest and in excruciating pain, I ended up coming across the book, The Extreme Art of Self-Care, and it had been like showcased on the Oprah show.
Oh,
And
okay.
I started reading that book. And in every chapter, it showed a different habit that you need for self-care. And that's how I like had a slow waking up experience
Yeah.
to self-care. And then by the time my 7th child was born, I knew before she was born that I was going to leave and that I really wanted a chance at happiness. And I knew 100% my only chance at happiness was going to be to end that relationship, no matter how hard, it was going to be.
Did you think that your husband at the time was aware at all or like?
So because we were religious,
Yeah.
in that whole time that I knew him, age 15 we met, married at 18,
Oh,
and then was with him till I was 32. It never came across my mind that divorce was an option.
yeah.
And I think that was a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
So I had a spiritual experience and like a real wake up and was like, wow, like really, I need to pay money and file paperwork and I can start a new chapter.
Yeah.
And I think he was surprised because he never believed that I would leave because we had so many kids.
What was the religion?
Um, I would say I was raised like Christian, Pentecostal, like Bible believing, speaking tongues, falling on the ground.
Oh,
3 times a week we were in church,
wow.
like praying hours and hours a day, memorizing the Bible, constantly listening to only like Christian music, not secular
Yeah.
music. And that's all I ever knew.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that your belief system now or has that
Definitely
changed?
not. It
No?
definitely changed,
Okay.
After the divorce, I lost everybody from the church I was at. And nobody
Yeah.
asked me what happened at all. And I wanted freedom. And, I'm still spiritual. It's just in a whole nother way.
Yeah.
And I studied a lot of psychology, and that helped me immensely just to understand the human experience, where before I was so focused on, like, I just have to give, give, give. I can't make any mistakes. And I really wasn't living. I was just in a constant state of fear and overgiving, and it's really bad for one's health.
Oh, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure. I did a training this past weekend called NLP, so it's neuro-linguistic programming, and we talked about the ways that when your spiritual self is not doing well, how that manifests down to your physical state. And so when things like aren't aligned, then maybe you get ill, maybe you have, a poor postpartum experience or, you have that time where you're unfortunately debilitated because there's so much that's off, right? Do you think that that resonates with you at all?
Oh, absolutely. I've had a lot of health issues. I've overcome a lot of health issues. And I do think alignment is huge.
Yeah.
When I'm mindful and going towards things that feel right to me on the inside, they might not make any sense out here to anyone else if you're just
Right.
looking in my life. Like, how does a mom of 7 do that,
Yeah.
And if I will honor myself in that way, I'll be in a state of flow and things will just start happening very easily.
And it feels good, right?
Feels so good. And you have
yeah.
so much more energy, you breathe easier, and anybody who is in your energy field benefits from that. Like
Yeah.
you become naturally magnetic and you don't need to try. It's something that just happens.
And it like helps to elevate the people around you too, I think.
Yes, you
Yeah.
bring a different energy to anywhere you show up.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, for say, at the grocery store or coffee shop and you walk past someone that's miserable and then 2 minutes later you walk past someone who seems full of life, I guarantee one's making decisions that feel in alignment and one hasn't come to that part yet.
Yeah. And so you describe the book as part memoir and part a manual. How did you decide what to share from your own life and then where you decided to draw the line?
Oh, good question. So for me, I knew I wanted to share the experiences specifically where I felt I had the most transformation. or the things that were most surprising and shocking to me about dating, because I felt if anybody else comes into this being as naive as I was, I really want them to know these things.
Yeah.
I think it's very beneficial.
Yeah.
And anybody that knows me knows I cope with life through humor. Like, I do improv. I love to laugh. I spent a lot of my life crying, and I can still cry, of course.
Yeah.
But I do believe any lesson you're teaching, if you can have people laugh, they'll remember the lesson.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think you didn't know getting back into dating that you want to impart on other
Oh,
women?
so much, so much. I would say, like, we can be explicit?
We can use curse words and
Okay,
whatever
so
you need to do to express yourself here.
I would say what I wish I would have known is the one with the pussy makes the rules.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that because how
Yeah.
I was raised was like, I need to be self-sacrificial. I need to make sure the person across from me is happy. Like, what? I have needs.
Yeah.
Like, I was at that spot where I didn't even know that I had needs. I didn't know I had the right to have needs. And I surely could not tell you what my needs were.
Yeah.
I was totally clueless. And then because I was in a relationship from 15 to 32, I had never slept with another man.
Yeah.
So that was huge to understand male anatomy and all the things. And it talks in the book how it comes in different sizes and shapes.
Yeah.
And you could be amazed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was huge for me.
Mm-hmm. How long after your divorce did it take you to say, no, like I need to experience other people?
Oh, I would say it wasn't long.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't long. And I do talk about grocery store man.
Okay.
And that's when I just like had the conscious decision, like, I'm going to have sex with someone else because I just need to see what that is like.
What is it like? Yeah.
And I can be like very, very logical sometimes. And I was just like, okay, I had no idea, right, where to meet people, or like I didn't know about the apps yet.
Yeah.
Like, I was clueless. And I was just at the grocery store and I was like, this guy will do. And I just went and talked to him and, hey, do you want to go for coffee? And he was like, sure. And then at coffee, I just told him, like, I'm looking to sleep with somebody. Like, I don't want a relationship. And he was like, oh, yes. Like,
Yeah, what man
let's go
turns
now.
that
We
down, right?
we literally left right then.
Really?
Went to his house, spent time together. I had my experience.
Yeah.
I'm glad I had the experience. There was some disappointment in it, like, what? And I write about that in the book.
Yeah.
But looking back, like, I've grown so much, and I think it's absolutely hilarious. Like, I was just, like, clueless. I didn't have anybody guiding me.
Yeah.
Like, this was all figuring it out,
Yeah.
on my own. And, yeah, I hope that the stories in there help others.
Yeah. It's so funny to think about going from, I mean, almost 20 years basically of,
Yeah.
being with one person to then one day being like, this man in the grocery store
Yeah.
is it. And so was this the same day or a different day?
It was, well, the same day or different day as,
Meeting him at the grocery store.
same day.
Really? Okay. You obviously haven't talked to him since, I'm assuming, or we can find
No.
out in the book.
Nope. Haven't talked to him since. Like, there was no need.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
yeah.
I feel I'm a pretty good communicator, and as time has gone on, like, I've become a better communicator, like,
Yeah.
not just in that department, but my personality is I'm pretty blunt. And that's how it works for me.
Did you tell this man that it wasn't good and you left?
No, I mean,
Oh.
I feel like he could tell. And he was like a bit avoidant, right? Like, I'm a very loving, affectionate person. Even if it's going to be a one-night stand, like, that's just who I am. And I could tell he was zero on the feelings. He
Oh.
zero on
Yeah.
the feelings. Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes sense as to why he was willing to.
Oh, yeah. I don't think he was disappointed at all.
Yeah.
He didn't seem disappointed. He seemed
Are
just
men
fine.
ever? You know what I mean?
That's a great
probably to
question.
some degree, but
Great question. Yeah.
yeah.
And what I realized is that women may not understand how easy it is, like, to get your needs met, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Aside from the book, right after the divorce, I took a trip to Florida by myself. I wanted to see the ocean. I'd never been to the ocean. And first time I was leaving my kids, and you got to remember they were all 10 years and under.
Oh, wow.
And
yeah.
had a babysitter. And I had a panic attack on the plane. So we were going to take off, and something happened where we were grounded for a while and we couldn't get off and we couldn't go anywhere. So we had to sit for almost 2 hours on the airplane.
Wow.
And there was just this big dude sitting next to me, construction worker. And I was like, hey, buddy, like, I got a really weird question for you. And he's like, oh, what's up? I was like, I'm going to need you to just put your arm around me and hold me because I'm about to go into a full-blown panic attack. And I promise you holding me, it's going to be better for both of us. And he's like, okay. And he just did. And total stranger, and then we ended up taking off. I'm like, okay, I'm good. He's like, all right. He's just super chill.
He wants to maybe like keep his arm around you or something.
But, I just told him, like, I'm good now. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
So I think we underestimate even how much strangers are willing to help us. Yeah. And especially men. You can walk into a group of men, and I'd say 9 times out of 10, if they're not in a relationship they respect, it's going to be a yes.
That is fair.
It's proven.
Heavy on a relationship they respect.
Yes.
Heavy on that. Mm-hmm. And so in the book, you talk about rewriting the good girl conditioning. And I wanted to I know you talked about your religious, upbringing and everything. Like, can you dive a little bit more into where, the good girl conditioning comes from in that?
Yes. Well, I think as a child, I learned really early on, less words were better and don't ask questions to stay safe. So that played a big role in it. So when I would see questioning behavior, even as an adult, I would not question it, or I'd wait a really long time before I would question it and say something. So I kept quiet a lot. And for the good girl behavior, I would just really overgive. So when I was married, I did everything, even when I was 9 months pregnant. Like, I would take out the garbage. I'd be the one that mows the yard, take care of the kids, cook. It was a really bad deal for me, but it's all I knew. It's all I knew. So I was just exhausted all the time, and I was either pregnant or breastfeeding, but I would never allow myself to complain. I would have to find things that I'm thankful about. Like, it was to the extreme that it was unhealthy. And I think it was conditioning for that. So after you overgive, and you don't spend any time for days, weeks, months, and years ever thinking about yourself and what you need or what you want, you become depressed.
Oh, yeah.
And then it can also just show up as different health things in your body. So that's what I mean, like, by the good girl. And now I'm completely different. And it was a lot of therapy, a lot of journaling, a lot of trying different hobbies and whatnot, and then surrounding myself with people who really valued me as a person. And they want to know my opinion. They want to know what I think about things. They want to know if I need anything or what makes me happy, and can they provide it? And that's very different.
And somebody else is cutting the lawn now, I hope.
Yes, I don't take trash out, and I don't cut.
Okay. Good. As you shouldn't. That's crazy. Especially being like 9 months pregnant, or any amount of pregnant. I guess, like, if I impart like my thoughts on when you say this religious upbringing, like, sure, maybe you're maintaining like, I'm thinking about like a stay-at-home mom. Were you a stay-at-home mom?
I was for the 10 years, yes.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of like you being a stay-at-home mom, like your husband's being the provider, but he's also doing the like stereotypical manly things, is like taking out the garbage and mowing the lawn and like getting oil changes on the car. So I just have this vision of you like on that little roller thing, like where you're just like rolling under a car, like doing stuff like that too. When you're like,
anyone who knows me knows there's basically nothing I can't do.
Yeah.
Like, and it took me a long time, and it was hard for me to learn to not do everything. So not only was I a stay-at-home mom, but he was chronically unemployed. So we lived in extreme poverty. And
interesting.
I remember my 7th baby, I think I was like 36 weeks pregnant, and he would not get a job. And I went and applied and went to interviews, and I got a job. And I knew the laws that they can't ask about you being pregnant. But the man in the interview was like, so is there anything that you'll need to take time off work? And he just stared at my stomach, and I just looked him dead in the eyes. And I was like, I don't foresee anything that I'm going to need to take time off for, sir.
Yeah. What are you referring to? Can you tell me more about what you think? That's crazy. At 36 weeks.
Yeah. And I did. I got the job, and I I believe for my last one, I went maybe 10 days over my due date. And I showed up every day to work. I requested a yoga ball to sit on because my pelvis was so horrific. I went to the chiropractor 3 times a week to be able to walk. I mean, I was in excruciating pain. I should not have been working.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to lose the house. And yeah, that's what I did. And I remember having contractions, putting the people on mute so I could like deep breathe.
Yeah.
And they're like complaining about something. And then I would like come back. Yes, I totally understand that. Let me see. And I'm thinking in my head, if people only knew right now, like I'm in early stages of labor, but I knew it wasn't time yet.
It wasn't
So.
time. That's crazy. Wait, so this was maybe like a call center of sorts, or
Yes,
what
I was working at
Okay.
a call center for the Home Depot credit cards. I can tell you everything about the Home Depot credit cards
Yeah.
and how to get any issues fixed.
I mean, that's also a useful skill.
Yes.
That's really funny. And so when we're talking about your sexual escapade with Grocery Store Man, is this maybe part of where you figured out that you could reclaim your sexual voice?
Oh, absolutely. So what I learned from that is it is not hard to find somebody to have a sexual experience.
Right.
Before I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to meet someone? How is this going to look? How do people do this? Like I've been just with the same person like since I was a baby, a teenager.
Yeah.
And that it's a huge jump
Mm-hmm.
to go from, married, stay-at-home mom to now like the world has just opened and I need to figure out so many things that I'm totally clueless about.
And so was there more curiosity or was there more fear?
I would say almost 50-50
Yeah.
because for me, I'm a very curious person about everything in life and very passionate about life. And then also the fear because I have endured abuse and men are naturally larger than women. I think there's always that fear, like something could happen and understanding that part of it.
Yeah. But curious to see maybe how you could liberate yourself through these experiences as well. So I can see that like push and pull dynamic of like,
Yes.
ooh, but is this going to happen? Or,
Yes.
oh, but I could really enjoy myself if I could really figure this out. And
Yes. And I think, I talk about micro D man and how I didn't know that micro penises were real. Like I had zero idea.
they're real.
Zero.
They're real.
So I ended up, we had hung out a long time. I loved to go there. We would have great chats. Like he would cook. I think I might call him Mediterranean man because he cooked all Mediterranean food and that's my favorite, like from scratch. And I was like, oh, I'm attracted to him. We have great conversation. Like this is kind of awkward. Like I'm always at his house and he has not suggested anything. This is before I found my voice. And then one day he just scoops me off the couch, walked to his bedroom, like so romantic. I had no idea what I was in for.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like, what? What? Like
Yeah.
I had a toddler at the time and literally his penis was bigger. And I was just like, I'm talking about if you look at your finger, like just this little part down here, fully erected. And I was just like, is this real? Like how? And I didn't have a voice to be able to be like, hey, let's put our clothes back on and have a chat. So it was mortifying. I left, looking normal, got in my car and just cried
Oh, I can
the whole way home. And then,
imagine.
of course, I'm like on Google,
Yeah.
like frantically trying to
Yeah.
understand this and stuff. And then, I processed it and everything. And now it's like, I just laugh hysterically that, something existed I didn't know, but I couldn't use my voice for. And he said nothing about it. I feel like that's something if you got that going on, we need to have a chat with whomever you're with. Like that's something that you just don't want to surprise somebody with, I feel.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I get it's probably challenging for him too because he's lived with it his whole whatever number of years, at the time. And
yes,
he's probably had like poor reactions from women and, all of that. So coincidentally, I had a conversation just the other week on the podcast with Soros, a friend of mine, Soros, and we were talking. She asked me, I should say, about size and if that matters. And I was like, well, like, we all want to say, oh, it doesn't matter because,
Oh,
when you have
yes.
feelings and you know what I mean? But, like, it does, right? And I learned recently through a podcast episode from Diary of a CEO, he had someone on there that was, like, sharing about basically instruments that men have as, we'll call it gender conforming care, to enlarge their penises
Mhm.
and or like to have harder erections and things like that. So it's like a button of sorts and it like blows it up more,
Mhm.
basically. Anyway, and so things like that could be helpful for, you know, someone like, this guy or like Mediterranean
Mhm.
guy. And then also, like, if they're not trying to utilize other means to give you pleasure, I
Mhm.
think that's one of the other issues or like another
Yes.
caveat to it could be small, but what else are we doing? Like, is this just for you or is it also including me if you don't think, or clearly I'm not being satisfied to the degree to which you are?
Yes, and I think that goes with, like, I think the best sex is you're feeling safe. You have
Mhm.
great communication.
Yeah.
You can each say what you want, and it's free, like, flowing.
Yeah.
And I would say I chat about the gentleman who gave me the most freedom, and I can't remember off the top of my head what I labeled that chapter.
Mm.
But we were explicit, like, friends with benefits.
Oh, okay.
And we met online. And he doesn't live in town, and I loved that. Like, I'm
Mhm.
never gonna run into you anywhere, like, fabulous, you know?
Yeah.
And while I was with him, he just shared that people are so, like, self-conscious during sex,
Yeah.
and really, it's about pleasure and doing what feels good to you, and if you're, like, so uptight, you can't experience that.
Right.
And he happened to have a mirror and was, like, just explaining, like, "Look, you're beautiful. Look at yourself in the mirror. Like,
Mm.
embrace who you are." And that really changed something inside of me. I don't know
Mhm.
exactly how to explain that, but it did. It changed something. And then I continued to date and sleep with people and whatnot and learn things. And then a few years later, years went by, and I ended up seeing him again. And we had a
Mm.
totally different experience. And I write about it in the book, and it blew his mind. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely got the award for the most growth,
Uh,
in the
from him?
bedroom. And he was
That's
just like,
funny.
"Whoa, what happened? Like, I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting this." It's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I just been doing my work over here, like
Yeah.
working on myself, getting comfortable with myself."
Yeah.
But it was very empowering that, he could witness that. Like, he saw where I was before.
Yeah.
And then I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years later, and then where I was at
Yeah.
that point.
I think it's beautiful because it sounds like a way to just, like, uncover the layers of Mindy that was,
Mhm.
like, suppressed from religious trauma, from a marriage trauma, from just, like, all of these things that didn't really get you to live yourself, like,
Oh, for
live or be
sure.
yourself out loud more, and I think that you have like, that sexual exploration or, like, that sexual expression is also
Mhm.
a reclamation of who we are as just as, like, people, where you get to just be yourself in this other way. So, like, maybe before you didn't think Mindy was sexual, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Holy
Oh.
shit, Mindy's sexual."
Yeah, it was
You
huge
know?
because I
Yeah.
only knew sex for the point of making babies, right?
You're making 7 of them.
So
Yeah.
then I didn't want that, and
Mhm.
because in the religion, I was really brainwashed to believe that I didn't have a choice for the number, that God chooses the number of kids and that it's supposed to be a blessing and blissful, like, the more kids you have.
Yeah.
Like, if we're being real and down to earth, like, the more kids, it's the more chaos. There's more wants and needs. There's no way possibly I can make 7 kids happy at the same time,
Yeah.
and there's only so much time and energy in the day. And then to switch over to understanding, like, it's self-expressive, it can be fun, it's for pleasure. There's
Yeah.
so many different things you can do with it, different types of sex. Like, it was just a whole nother world that opened up for me.
Mhm.
And to finally feel safe in being me and
Yeah.
getting to explore who I am at my
Mhm.
core and whatnot. And yeah, it was a very interesting ride, I would say.
Figuratively and literally.
For
Again, here
sure.
we are, yes. So a lot of divorced moms might feel like dating and pleasure are the last things on their priority list. We kind of touched on that a little bit. So what do you say to that woman now?
I would say to her is first, like, that's okay. Like, you don't have to date. You don't have to sleep with anybody. Like, that's your prerogative. And I would also say, like, have some alone time and be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because honestly, that's just 100% how you feel right now, the season you're in? Or are you making that decision based on fear? And there's plenty of things to be afraid about. So there's no reason to feel bad about that, but to get honest with it. And then for me, pleasure is linked to fun. And the more pleasure and fun that I can give myself in whatever capacity, I show up as a better mom, a better human
Yeah.
on the planet.
Yeah.
And I think for so long, I just deprived myself of every good thing. And I'm still, 8 years later, I'm still getting used to that. If I have a lot of good things that happen at once, it's hard for my body to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking like, I'll start like dry heaving. Like it affects my nervous system. And I think it's just from so many years of suppression. It's like, are we
Yeah.
sure it's okay to be
Yeah.
this happy, to feel this much joy, to be having this many good things? So,
What happened when you experienced joy in your marriage or in your upbringing?
so unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of joy in either of those.
Okay.
Um, I would say as a child, I would be really joyful about very simple things. Like I'd always be singing and making up little jingles and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, or like getting my favorite food or a soda, or little tiny things can make me feel so joyful. And I would be made fun of by my siblings.
Yeah.
They did not like it. You know, we were in a really tough situation for the entire time, and to not be miserable made me a target.
Yeah.
So I learned to just be quiet, just to hide that, to not show feelings, don't be expressive and whatnot. Like we were taught that we shouldn't be crying because we shouldn't be looking sad, but we shouldn't be looking too happy either. It
Yeah.
was more just like be quiet and go through the motions.
Yeah.
So that was really hard for me. And then after marriage, um, I just was giving, 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 and I wasn't receiving anything. So I didn't feel joy for a long time. And I felt like I lost myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't even respond to like, if someone said my name, Mindy, because I was always called like babe or mom. And like, that was it. Like I lost my sense of identity in all the ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew being a stay-at-home mom wasn't for me, but I didn't, because of my religion, I didn't know what to do. And I felt trapped because I was told like a good Christian woman doesn't put her kids in daycare. I'm like, well, I got 7 babies. Like, what does that say for me? You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it wasn't in my original plans, I guess. And it was just, I don't know, a terrible surprise. Like, you know, I went to college, I wanted to work, I wanted to be in the business world and whatnot. And my whole life was mostly staying at home, except the grocery store or church.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've changed so many diapers and rocked so many babies for so many hours.
Yeah.
And I used to cook everything from scratch, 21 meals a week and plus desserts and then all the cleanup.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how do I make it through the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many siblings did you have?
3.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were there stigmas in the church for you to talk with other women about what you were experiencing or what you were
Oh,
going through?
yeah. So people didn't know. I would just plaster a smile on my face.
Mm.
Um, and I remember just feeling like the biggest thing is like, don't get angry as a
Mm.
Christian woman. Like, you got to control your tongue. Got to be careful what you say. Can never take it back. And then you got to be submissive to your husband. Like my husband at the time, he didn't talk or lead. Like, where am I going to follow you if you're not opening your mouth or doing anything?
Yeah.
That's really difficult.
Yeah.
Like impossible, actually.
Yeah.
And then like, don't complain. So there's no way I was going to. Towards the end, after my youngest was born, I did go to, what do you call them? Like church staff or whatever to try to seek help. And they just told me I needed to be thankful. And then I had dad issues. And in their defense, I guess, like, my husband was very good and charming when he felt like it, so I could see, like, their perspective. But I was so unhappy.
Yeah.
And to be told, like, you just got to be more thankful.
And I guess if everybody's putting on a face, basically, then the people at the church or anybody you interact with, the face is all they know. So it's kind of hard for them to think like, oh, is Bob really? I don't know what your husband's name. I'm just making it. We don't know Bob. I'm just making up a name. But, is he really like this? No, he's always happy when I see him. He seems to be fine. He looks like a great dad, a great husband,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always say you don't really know someone till you live with them and you sleep with them. You get to know a whole nother part of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So you bring a lot of humor to these vulnerable moments, and I know you like to do improv and comedy and things like that. And do you feel like it is a more of a conscious choice, or do you think that it's still somewhat of a defense mechanism?
Ooh, that's good. I would say it will probably always be partly a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Um, I don't see that being able to shift. And that's just because I've had so many, like, some people say, like, they went through the dark nights of the soul. And I was like, almost my whole life's been a dark night of the soul, guys. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know some people could have just like a season of that.
Right.
So for me, I think that helped me. And then also, it's just so good for me to laugh because I was so serious when I was religious. Like, someone would say something and be like, in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, that's really funny, but not appropriate. Can't laugh at that. Got to stuff it in,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a really great question.
Thank you. What's one piece of girlfriend wisdom from the book that you wish someone had told you years ago?
Ooh,
Let's go with
girlfriend.
before your marriage and after your marriage.
Wow. If somebody would have sat with me and just told me before my marriage, like, about autonomy, like, it's going to make me start crying. But, like, my life's my life. I don't have to sacrifice my life and be a martyr for religion or for a man. And that would have changed everything. Like, I had gotten accepted to college, like, a bunch of different places. And I didn't choose the one that I wanted because I wanted to be with their dad. And I would have had, like, a different career and given me a lot more opportunities and just a whole change of events, So I think autonomy and understanding, even as a teenager, and what I tell my teenagers is, in life, there's going to be times you disappoint me. There's going to be times you disappoint your siblings, your friends, other people. For the love of God, don't disappoint yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go to bed with yourself every night at the end of the day. Like, you have to live with yourself all day long. Like, you have to be true to yourself and get to know yourself and what that is, and have the courage and the bravery to disappoint your parents or disappoint someone you really care about when you know the answer to yourself is the truest, most honest thing, even though if it's not for them. Like, example, if one of my kids wanted to move across the country or to another country because they had that desire and they knew that's what they wanted to do, but I was like, no, don't do it. I don't want to have to get an airplane and fly 22 miles. So I don't want you to have that life.
Yeah.
Like, please disappoint me.
Yeah.
Like, don't spend 20 years regretting that you didn't do that thing.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really interesting how, as mothers, we have an opportunity to almost reparent ourselves through our children. And something that's important to me, I have one child, he's 8, he'll be 9 this year. And the ways that I feel good about how I'm parenting him, and, like, similar to what you're saying, just like that autonomy, but then also just encouraging him through his exploration or through his own curiosities of things. It's like we're doing the best that we can as parents, but also in a way of which we, like, reparent ourselves and, like, check ourselves to make sure we're not doing the same to our kids in whatever that might be that we feel like we had to work through therapy and, many years later.
Absolutely. I think that's a beautiful way to describe it. And there's just so many things that go with parenting, but to realize that you're doing it mindfully, I think, is huge. Yeah, it'll make an impact for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the, like, little man that he's going to be. I mean, I can wait. He don't need to grow up too fast. So what surprised you the most about yourself on the other side of your divorce?
I would say what surprised me the most. Number one, that I'm still so eager to keep learning and keep growing. You know, like post or pre-divorce, right? I was just like, oh my gosh, I just got to get through this. I just got to get this paperwork signed and get it filed and those things. And then to realize there's so much, like there's just so much more. And the more I learn, I'm like, I know nothing. And I know it's a famous quote and I don't know who quoted it, but I truly in my heart feel like that.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm surprised that even though I've been through quite a few heartbreaks, that I'm still open. Like I'm still open to love. Like my last name's Love. Like that's who I just am in my core.
Yeah.
I feel. And that doesn't mean just like the beautiful parts of it. Like I'm really feisty too. Like all the things that love is, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that surprised me. Like I could have gone the other way.
Yeah.
And like emotion wise and stuff. And with the therapy I've gone through, I've had a few therapists in the last 8 years, and their common theme was because of all the neglect and abuse you've endured, like, why aren't you a drug addict? Every single one of them.
Yeah.
And at first I was so confused and offended and what? And then understanding it's just when somebody's had that much pain that it feels like it's the only way to cope.
Right.
And I just told them, like, you know, my mom told me it was wrong. She told me it was bad growing up. And I was pregnant in my whole 20s. Like, I didn't have alcohol and whatnot. And so
I guess that's a good thing that sticks from it, you know?
I think it is. Like, I mean, I dove right deep into religion and had a lot of things I had to unpack from that. But yeah, I'm thankful that I did. I learned how to feel my feelings and just continue to practice. And I feel like the more expressive I can be in whatever area, it's like the more healing and life I feel that comes back into me.
Good. And what do you hope that your readers feel after they close the last page?
Well, I hope they have like a feeling of like empowerment, a feeling of peace, and like just to get their wheels turning. Like, what do I want? And even like people who are married, I've had married women read it and just thank me because they're now able to be like more expressive in their relationship. They can talk about things they want to change or things they really like and want more of and things that aren't working for them. And it's giving everyone, I think, just a better time and to be more mindful. So yeah, I've loved getting like comments back from people after they've completed it and stuff, and it did what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to be a very easy read. I wanted to be able to make people cry because they can see themselves in it, and then also make them be able to laugh so they can retain the lessons.
What gives you more sense of satisfaction, having written the book or the people that it inspires and affects?
So I think the whole process of getting your thoughts on the page, learning how to put it together, getting it published on Amazon, and then the excitement of holding it, and then seeing people purchase it and seeing them read it and then hearing, it's literally like birthing a child. Like you're pregnant with this idea for so long, and then the writing part and getting it all fixed up, I would equate to like you're changing diapers all the time. And then when you're holding it in your hand, it's like it can walk. And then people read it and it's like, oh, they're learning and growing. And so I love the entire process. And I know that there will be just a lot more books in my future. I have so many life experiences and so much that it makes me feel good to be able to share and process and put things on paper, and that it benefits somebody. Even if it benefits one person, like I, in a tiny way, can change someone else's life for the better. It just brings me so much happiness.
Your next books are going to be about Home Depot loans and mowing lawns.
Right? Oh, the things I could share. Yeah. My next one, I'm trying to decide if it'll be like surviving a breakup and what that looks like, and, you know, really getting to know yourself. That was one idea I had. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I know you have your own podcast as well. Can you just tell us a little bit about your podcast and then how people can find you and then where to find and support the book?
Yes. So my podcast is Mindy's Mouth. And I think we have similar topics where I'm talking about real stuff. I'm talking about inappropriate things, things that you wish other women would be talking about. And then I also interview other people and they share their wild stories and what they've learned in life. And the book you can find on Amazon. Also, it can be hard to find the link because it's a new book. On my Facebook, I have the link as well. On my website, missmindylove.com, you can just click it there and it'll take you directly to the book. And then the podcast, I remember you asked me earlier before we started, like maybe why I started the podcast. And I do recall in elementary school, I used to get in so much trouble for talking. And it just, I'm a very sensitive person. And it just like why am I in trouble? I'm not even doing anything wrong. Like, I'm trying to make sure my friends are okay.
Yeah.
And then having stuffed so many of my opinions and whatnot. And it was very healing for me to come up with the title Mindy's Mouth and just getting to share things and be real and be honest.
Yeah.
And I'm a storyteller at heart. And it just was flow in alignment of going down that path.
That's beautiful. I love it. I'll be sure to link everything in the description of the podcast as well. And I'm so grateful that you were able to spend this time together and share a bit of your story, share about the book. And is there anything that you would like for listeners to take away from this episode?
Yes. So I would say a big takeaway I would like for everybody is to understand that you can love people deeply and still choose yourself. And by doing so, putting yourself first, it's the best gift because then you can give out of an overflow instead of a cup that is cracked, has a hole in it, or has nothing left at all.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Mindy.
Thanks.
Yay.
You did it.